Hello, Ross Sutherland here. You're listening to Imaginary Advice. This podcast has been going 10 years now. In that entire time, there has been not one advert or sponsor, because let's face it, who would? You think Squarespace is clambering to insert an advert into a story about a naked man getting a hand job whilst having a conversation about the Eden Project? I mean, probably not. Ads don't really make sense as a business model for a show like this. Ultimately, that means it's a cleaner listening experience for you guys, and I get full creative freedom, which is great. More hand job scenes, I feel. Millions of them coming down the pipe. But the flip side to the coin is, without ads, I'm basically making a podcast on hard mode, because it takes an insane amount of time and energy to make this show. It's a full-time job for me, and the money to cover that has to come basically from you, the listener. The show survives because it appeals to a small but wonderful group of freaks, people like me, poor souls, and I am incredibly grateful for their continued support. They pay my wage, they make the show happen, and I couldn't do it without their support. Problem is, the amount of support I currently receive is still under the national minimum wage. It is still, sadly, not enough to live on. My goal for the next couple of months is to try and get the money I receive from Imaginary Advice to be equal to the salary I would get in a minimum wage job. I think that's possible. So, if you have listened to this podcast for a while and you're yet to make a donation, please consider it this month. If you sign up to my Patreon and pledge $5 a month or more, you get access to this whole other podcast I make where I'm developing a film screenplay. So for more information there, go to patreon.com/Ross G. Sutherland. I'm told that if you're thinking of subscribing, it is better to do it through a computer browser. Don't use the Patreon app on your phone to sign up to the Imaginary Advice Patreon, or Apple steals 30% of the money, the scumbags. Now, if signing up to Patreon is too much of a financial commitment, which I totally get, you can also make a one-off donation to the show via buymeacoffee.com/Imaginary Advice. Any donation, no matter how small, makes a big difference to me. And again, thank you to everyone who has supported the show before. I can't tell you how grateful I am. Also, don't forget, I have a newsletter now. Now, this newsletter is mostly just a way of notifying people when I drop a new episode on this feed. So this is a way to stay in the loop with the podcast and also get any notifications of live shows coming up and stuff like that. To sign up, go to imaginaryadvice.com and click on the link for mailing list. Also, check your spam folder for the confirmation email. So, okay, I think that's all the housekeeping. Time now for a special Christmas episode of Imaginary Advice. I hope you like it. Here we go. What's up, yo? Welcome back to the channel. As always, this is Demonetized Leotard Bulge 79, bringing you another video game Let's Play. So this time, I'm going to be playing a bit of an old classic, A Christmas Carol on the SNES, made by Echo Wave Games, released in the UK in 1993. Now, if you're an oldie like me, and you've played A Christmas Carol on the SNES, You probably remember it as a short, easy game. I think that's its reputation. It's one of those games that pretty much plays itself. You click on some stuff, you have some dialogues with ghosts where they tell you what a terrible person you are. And then you wake up and it's morning and there's a final cutscene where you chuck all your money out the window. And then that's pretty much it, right? That's how people remember it. Well, actually, no. That's not all there is to this game. There's actually a bunch more stuff that you can do in this game that most people don't know about. And that's because, to be honest, most people aren't proper gamers. They see a game like A Christmas Carol and they just follow the dotted lines and let the ghosts trash talk them like the little cucks they are. And then they have the arrogance to go on the message board and tell me that they've beaten the game. Well, no, actually, mate. Actually, if you think about it, what happened there is the game beat you, didn't it? Right? You did what the ghosts wanted. The game beat you, okay? And what I'm actually going to show you here today is the actual way that you beat this game. I'm going to show you how a serious gamer does it, right? And I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to let a fucking Victorian ghost influence my opinion on, like, the perils of capitalism, right? I don't need that. So I'm going to beat this thing with my head held high, right? No compromises, no moral realignment. And this is not a speed run per se, but as you'll see, if you know what you're doing in A Christmas Carol, you can easily smash all the ghosts in like under 40 minutes. All right, let's get started. All right, so here we are in the freezing cold lending house of Scrooge and Marley. This is probably sometime around 1843. Now you can see how cold it is by Scrooge's breath. Look, it's just one frame of animation, but there you go. It's a nice touch. So right now I'm hitting Bob Cratchit with my cane a few times. Now you can't kill Bob, but you can get some extra coins this way. There you go. Alright, so when blood starts coming out of his head, that means he's out of coins. You can also, yoink, steal a bit of coal from the fireplace, which you can trade later on if you want. And also, look, so you can even steal the windows. Oh, here we go. So we've got snow coming into the office now, which is pretty cool effect. Bob is not looking happy. Okay, so this is Fred, your nephew, coming in to invite you to Christmas dinner tomorrow. You can avoid the whole dialogue though by just throwing your cane at his face and he just turns and goes. There we go. And now you can leave too. So, out on the street, if you want, you can attack people with your cane. Some of them have coins. There you go. You can actually kill this caroler if you want. Hang on. And there you go. It doesn't give you any coins or anything. It's just something you can do. Thought I'd just show you that. So, exits at the far end of the street. And now we're standing outside Scrooge's house, where we get this pop-up magnification box here with a little pixelated animation of Scrooge's door knocker transforming into the face of his dead business partner, Jacob Marley.
Scrooge!
Oh! Very scary. Anyway, now we can go inside. Scrooge's house is basically the hub world, so we'll be back here after each level. Now, we can only see what's going on in this little circle of light coming from Scrooge's candle, but we just need to head up the stairs here, then across into Scrooge's bedroom. Very austere, as you can see. It's a nice pixel art used bedpan in the corner there. And when we click on the bed, that will trigger our first proper cutscene with the ghost of Jacob Marley. So let's, Alright, so Marley has appeared now.
Scrooge, I have business with you.
It's quite a long conversation, but we can skip through this.
I wear the chain, but
I mean, it's just
I am
story bullshit.
mercy. You will, and so be it.
Okay, so Marley's going to disappear again now, returning to, I don't know, the purgatorial plane, something like that. Now, at this point, if you want, you can do some more house investigations and learn a bit more about Scrooge's backstory. But we're just going to click on the bed and sleep through to 1 a.m.
Humbug.
Okay. Okay, so here we go. This is the arrival of the first ghost now, and it's pretty impressive for the console generation. We've got this thing that's constantly growing and shedding arms and legs with this kind of fountain of light spewing out the top of his head like a Roman candle. You can see why the programmers made Scrooge's bedroom basically a huge empty box, because this thing needs about half a screen. So first we're going to get a little bit more dialogue.
Are you the ghost?
Which we're going to skip.
Who?
What? Director, rise and walk with me.
Alright, and when the clock strikes 1, we finally get back control of Scrooge, and although the game is asking us to approach the spirit and press A to hold its hand, here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to equip our cane and start smacking the fuck out of it. Here we go. Okay, it's pissed. So that's the end now of the ghost trying to teach us the easy way. Now it's switching to the brute force method, which is good. So the first wave of its attack is to basically just bounce around the room like this. You just have to run underneath it every time it... Okay, there we go. Okay, so when it gets to the screen edge, it's going to do one of these ranged attacks where it bows down so the candle head fire shoots out across the screen. And there we go. And as soon as it stops that attack, that's when you throw your cane. There, we've stunned it, and then we can rush in and beat the shit out of it. There we go. Now when it starts glowing red, that's when it's going to move to its next phase. It's going to... Okay, here we go. So now it's opening up these little time portals back to Scrooge's childhood, and various things from Scrooge's past are coming through and attacking us. These are all little fragments of Scrooge's memory, little symbols of his loneliness. So here we go. This is a portal back to his old boarding school. So we got a dusty abacus coming through. What's that? I think that's a frost-covered rag. Okay, you can duck that. Some of these things are quite abstract, but I don't know. I assume they all mean something to Scrooge. Anyway, just keep weaving between the symbols. Here's the janitor who accidentally broke your wrist when you were 6, so just dodge him. And the schoolmaster's going to take a swipe at you now. But actually, you can parry his cane. There you go. And then you can actually shatter his head with your counter. All right, just like that. There we go. You see, so it actually turns out that your weapon is extremely powerful against these things. And I think that's because technically they're not really here. They're more like stolen memories. They're parts of our own brain that the ghost is weaponizing against us. So when we, like that, when we kill our old boss who treated us like a son, or when we take out our ex-fiance who dumped us when we were 20. There we go. See, every time we take one of these things out, it's a little bit like we're cutting a little bit out of our own brain. Which sounds bad, but if you properly want to beat the game, this is basically how you have to do it. Because, you know, of course, it's more than just self-inflicted brain damage, right? You know, by killing all of our memories, it's a little bit like we're removing ourselves from history. We're freeing ourselves from the tyranny of an origin story, and most importantly of all, purging our past dashes any chance of increasing self-knowledge through past examination. And that, is extremely bad news for our ghost here, the therapist of Christmas past, who is... Okay, yeah, look, they're coming in for another attack now. Yeah, they're pissed. This is mostly just a faster version of their first attack. Plus, they're going to start lobbing egg timers and daguerreotypes of teenage sweethearts. Again, look, just wait till he bows, and then when the attack finishes, hurl the cane. Okay, right, and now here we go again, and now it's time to open some more time portals. Now, this thing is really trying to kill us now. Self-preservation is kicking in, I think. So this time, it's started dragging up things from its own memory now. Anything from the past that it thinks can take us out. So we've got some Napoleonic soldiers here from the French Imperial Army, which is not particularly Christmassy. I think that might be a sprig of holly in their lapel, but you know, it feels like a stretch, doesn't it, for the ghost of Christmas past? But the gloves are off, I suppose. These guys have got sabers and pistols, but basically let them get one shot off, and then you can just bonk them while they're reloading. In the meantime, you just got to keep your distance. Well, okay. Oh, hey, here we go. We have a T-Rex. The ghost of Christmas past has brought a T-Rex through a time portal. Now you can see it's actually wearing a little Christmassy paper crown, which is adorable. Now, you can't actually kill the T-Rex, but it moves pretty slow. So we've just got to focus all of our energy on thrashing the ghost before the T-Rex can get across to the other side of the screen. This is real finger cramp territory here, but... Okay, there we go. The ghost is toast. The T-Rex gets sent back to whatever Christmas Day looked like 66 million years ago. And we get this for our inventory. The Blade of Christmas Past. You see it's got a clock face built into the hilt of the sword there. Okay, so quickly we're just going to collect all the coins dropped by the French Imperial soldiers. You'll also notice that Scrooge moves a bit quicker now. He actually handles better from this point on. Because, well, I think it's because he's forgotten he's old. Right? He no longer has a memory now, you see. We've destroyed that. And that includes, along with everything else, his age. From this moment on, we're a man without a past. All that remains of our identity now is this oversized nightshirt, the ectoplasm-stained cane in our hand, and the raw desire within us to dominate and destroy anything that stands in our way. Incapable of regret, compassion, driven only by a singular need, the need to win. Smash like and subscribe. Anyway, we've got our cool, new, dead-eyed, psychotic attitude, and that's great. But alone, it's not going to be enough. See, the Ghost of Christmas Present is going to be arriving in this room imminently. And when it does, it's going to wipe the floor with us, basically, based on this current build anyway. Because the Ghost of Christmas Present, he's a motherfucker. Let me try to explain why. You see, due to the second Ghost's supercharged presentness, it somehow has this uncanny ability to always be standing in the exact part of the screen that is most advantageous to it at any given moment of the fight. Wherever the most annoying place is for it to be, that's where it is. Now, of course, this thing, it doesn't know the past and it doesn't know the future. All it knows is the present moment. But boy, does it know the present moment. It can always read a room and know exactly what is going down. It is aware of its surroundings on a seemingly atomic level. It's like stage 10 bodhisattva awareness. This thing is mindfulness incarnate. You cannot hit it. You cannot agitate it into attacking you. It's like trying to stab a column of smoke. It will wait as long as it needs to wait for you to let your guard down. And like that, it will grab you. It will no-clip you across London into Bob Cratchit's house, and then it will break your heart quicker than Tiny Tim can pull a wishbone. So basically that means we can't go any further forward from this point in the game. However, if we can't go forward, I guess we'll have to go back. So we bring up our inventory, select the Blade of Christmas Past. We're just going to move over to the doorway here. And now, when we hold down the X button, you see, Timmy, time begins to move backwards. Slowly at first, so we can see ourselves vomiting up those French doubloons. There's the Ghost of Christmas Past unsnuffing itself. And there's our T-Rex moonwalking back across the screen. Now, as things get a bit blurry, it's a bit harder to see what's going on here, but just keep an eye on the grandfather clock there, because we're looking to release the X button at about 5 minutes past midnight. It's just okay, nearly there. Okay, the Ghost of Christmas Past has vanished back into the walls. The other Scrooge is back asleep again. Here we go, 12:30, 12:15, 12:10, and there we go.
Scrooge, I have business with you.
So we're back, dropping in on that opening visitation from Jacob Marley, doing his ghost compare shtick.
I wear the chain.
So right now, Marley is busy telling the other us about how he wasted his life being a penny pinching miser, yada yada. So we can just creep up behind him here and slash him with the time blade. Yeah, okay, that's gonna fuck him up. So that's a ghost weapon, so that does double damage on ghosts. And, okay, so he's flying into a ghost rage now. He's gonna do one of his ranged chain attacks, which actually are quite hard to dodge, but if he gets you... Oh, there you go, yeah, like that. Yeah, you can just reverse time back to just before the hit. And just dodge the other way. Okay, so a few more slashes. And that's the end of Jacob Marley. He was dead to begin with, but now he's super dead. So anyway, Jacob leaves behind his spectral chains, the chains he forged in life, and we can take those and combine them in our inventory with the ghost blade, which basically makes a chain sword, which Scrooge can spin around in a 360-degree killing circle, which is pretty fucking dope. Look, I'll chop his bed in half. Don't need it, mate. Oh, look at this psycho. Look at his eyes. This man does not need sleep, does he? He's never going to sleep ever again. Now, as powerful as my Christmas chain blade is, it's still not enough to take down the ghost of Christmas present. In a one-on-one fight, even with this sweet ninja grade Kusarigama, I still wouldn't be able to hit that thing. However, what is going to help me is that guy, the other Scrooge, who is just wandering in circles right now. Now, because I've come back in time and changed history, I have now created a parallel timeline, basically. The future I came from is gone, effectively, and now we're on this track. Now, this other Scrooge and me, we are identical in many, many ways. However, my Christmas Eve has not played out the same way as his, right? Also, because of my battle with the ghost of Christmas past, I have been purged of all the sad memories of my childhood, while my twin here is still very much enslaved by the traumas of his past, which makes him, in one way, more human than me, you could say, but also weaker than me, at least in terms of game mechanics. Anyway, we are two roads diverging in a yellow wood, to quote Frost. But we do not have to pick one path or the other, for we are the path. Both of us together. We are both Scrooge, and both Scrooge are we. Now, aha, you say. If I'm both Scrooges, then why am I only in control of one of them? While the other one just runs around the screen like a headless chicken? Well, believe it or not, but actually, both Scrooges are under our control. And this is not a matter of toggling control between both characters on a game menu somewhere, nor is it one of those sneaky things where you have to plug in a second game controller. It is simply a matter of concentration. So here's what you have to do. You just focus your mind on the other Scrooge character for a second. Focus on him, and only him. Breathe out slowly. And now, when you move the controller, there you go. Scrooge Prime has stopped moving, and Scrooge Beta is the character that we control. And we can switch back just as easily. Just focus your attention back on Scrooge Prime again. And yeah, there you go. Now, I've had a chance to practice this, alright, so I can actually switch Scrooges pretty fast. I can do it in about a second. It may take you a little bit longer at first, but it's a muscle, just like any other in gaming. You build it up, just like your trigger finger. Soon, you'll be switching back and forth between parallel personas without even realizing you're doing it. So this is the next step in our journey as a warrior, and an essential skill for the battle ahead. Before long, you will become a ghost between two psyches, mercurial, unknowable. Feeling cornered, just become someone else. Easy as that. So, when you've practiced and you're feeling ready, let's move on. As Scrooge Prime, go over to Beta Scrooge, open your inventory, and give him your cane. So now, Beta has 2 canes, which he can dual wield in battle. Pretty sick. So, that's 1 o'clock now, which means time once again for the appearance of our old friend, the Ghost of Christmas Past. Now remember, the time sword only lets us travel backwards through time, so sadly we can't use the sword to skip forward past this fight. However, don't worry, because this time around this thing is gonna eat shit in about 5 seconds. The Scrooge twins are gonna make quick work of this fucking jabroni.
Rise and walk with
Chainblade, cane, and that. Boom is how you bust a fucking ghost. Get in the bin, Casper, you fucking mug. Bosh! Okay, so the ghost drops another Blade of Christmas Past. You can let Beta Scrooge pick up that one. And once again, here we are, back again, awaiting the arrival of the Ghost of Christmas Present, coming on the 2 o'clock chime. But this time, we're ready. There's the chime. And here it comes. Okay. Time now to throw down with a spectre who is essentially the distilled essence of mindfulness. A being with unsurpassable knowledge of the immediate world. Every insect, every blade of grass, every electron observed and evaluated for its potential against us. I mean, it is a bit like picking a fight with reality itself, which feels like something only a really stupid person would do. Or a really ambitious person. So you can see like the room's getting brighter and brighter. Around the edges here, thousands of ghostly flickering candles. It's like all the shadows are being removed from reality. All ambiguities are being erased. There's also some sort of weird meat material oozing out of the cracks in the walls. I don't know what that means, but it's gross. Right, okay, and here we go. Materializing before us in the lotus position, of course. This enormous, smooth... personally, I think it looks a little bit like John Cena. Alright, mate. You want to know me better? Let me show you what Ebenezer Scrooge is all about. Chainsaw attack! Okay, now you see, actually, even that first surprise attack didn't hit. the ghost just immediately teleported to another part of the screen. You see, that's how preternaturally present this fucking thing is. Anyway, it's basically going to keep teleporting now. Just make sure you've got a Scrooge in either half of the screen, and then just keep switching Scrooge and taking a swing at it every time the ghost comes near. Now, you'll never actually hit it like this, but that's okay for now, all right? Doing this stops the ghost from touching us and dragging us to Bob Cratchit's house, so this is a good defensive strategy while we get our bearings. All right, so just switch, attack, switch, attack. Right now, we're just laying down a pattern for ourselves. We're establishing a kind of mental loop that we can repeat over and over and slowly internalize. So very soon we're going to be doing this without even thinking about it. Just switch, attack, switch, attack, switch, attack, switch, attack, switch, attack. Now we're going to start to speed up. We're going to let the interval we spend as each Scrooge get shorter and shorter. Don't worry about attacking anymore. Don't even worry about where the ghost is. Just keep hopping back and forth. Switch, 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 switch. And as we do this, we're going to remind ourselves that regardless of what we're seeing on screen before us, there is really only one Ebenezer Scrooge. We are seeing two simultaneous realities rooted in the same soul. But both of these characters are, in truth, the same person. Two sides of the same coin. They are both real, and they are both me. They are both real, and they are both me. We are both real, and they are both me. We are both real, and they are both me. Okay, yeah, there we go. So the ghost is now frozen in place, basically, with a kind of slack-jawed expression on his bald little head. So what just happened? Well, just now, for a fraction of a second, we forced the ghost to coexist in two parallel realities, two presents at the same time, which is not something our ghost here is designed to anticipate. After all, it is the ghost of Christmas present, not presents. I mean, think about it from the ghost's perspective. You've been infallible since the dawn of creation. You have always known the best place to stand in any room. Now, for the first time ever, you're being forced to make a choice. But which present is the real present? You can't make that decision. That's not a calculation you're designed to make. And so you crash. And we can now just toddle over and put this thing out of its misery. It's actually only going to take one hit. Watch this. We're going to cleave this motherfucker in two. We have killed the past. And we have killed the present. Now only the future remains. As our prize, we get this pretty nifty artifact, the Crown of Christmas Present. Pop it in your inventory, and now, if you bring up the game map, you'll see how it's changed, because now we can see basically everything. Every single person on the planet, every building, every room, every conversation, every smell, every house mite. You can just basically just zoom in or out just as much as you need. And we can basically use this map as a jump screen to instantly teleport to anywhere on the planet that we want to go. Obviously, it only works on a 3-dimensional axis. Like, you can't teleport 4-dimensionally. But if you also needed to move back in time, you can just equip the time sword when you get there. Anyway, moving on. Before we fight the final ghost, let's quickly tidy up a little bit. The other Scrooge is too much of a liability going forward, so I suggest just quickly running him through. Just one slash with the chain blade should do it. Yeah, there you go. He's a goner. So if you go over and press A, you get a little close-up, and you can listen to his last words if you want. No idea what he's saying, sadly. Don't worry, brother. I promise. We're doing this for you. No, he's dead. And that is the sound of the 3 o'clock bells. Time for the third and final Christmas ghost. We are about to meet our maker. And then we're going to turn around and stab him with a massive fucking sword. Now, by this point, the game knows what we're up to. It's not even entertaining, the idea of coming in peacefully on this one. It's already decided that it's going to have to teach us the hard way. So we have to be ready for that. Here we go. We can't see it on screen yet, but trust me, it's near. The game usually spawns it a couple of rooms away, and here we go, it's coming. Now I assume that this is the sound of it smashing through walls to get to us. I like how the whole room shakes when it does that. Maybe it's working along the whole terrace, tearing its way through every bedroom on the street. The beast of Christmas yet to come. The angel of death itself. Now you could equip a weapon here if you wanted, but trust me, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so I just got punched into next week. Literally, if you look at the calendar on the wall there, you can see that it's now January 1st, 1844. So there you go. Happy New Year. I've also, it might be hard to see, but I've also lost 1% of my health bar. But, okay, yeah, here we go again. And this is gonna keep happening, basically. We're going to get punched further and further down the calendar, time traveling one blow at a time. It's a bit like a can being kicked down a street towards the final inevitable gutter of our death. Okay, so it punched me a month into the future that time. It's still a little hard to see the effect on the size of the health bar, but it's going to start to become obvious very soon, trust me. Now, I've tried various strategies on this thing. I've tried using the crown to escape, teleporting myself to Australia, Indonesia, but of course, you can't outrun death. The beast follows wherever you go. I've also tried using the sword to compensate, so using it to go back in time to pick up from whatever moment I got sucker punched. And you can do that, but it doesn't make you any younger. The health bar doesn't regrow when you go back in time. You can't put those lost years back in the bottle. The time the beast takes from you is always gone forever. No matter where you are on the timeline, it's going to find you. There we go. And lost half a year there. Now we're starting to feel it. Anyway, as you can see, fighting the ghost of Christmas yet to come is basically fighting mortality itself. We're being forced to reckon with the inevitable death of all things. Galactic entropy, the heat death of the universe, yada yada. Sounds fancy, but in terms of teaching tools, that's a pretty blunt instrument. You know, it's not sophisticated or elegant, but as a weapon, it certainly gets the job done. There isn't a lot one can argue with here, and we can only lie to ourselves for so long. Death is coming for us all, of course it is. The game over screen cannot be bypassed, nor can we take our riches with us. Only the echo of our actions survive us. We live on in the memory of our deeds, and the rest, as they say, is silence. Hey, 2 years that time. Anyway, the point is, we're not going to defeat this final ghost by debating it philosophically. Quite the opposite, in fact. We must give in to it. I know I said I was going to show you how to beat the game without ever submitting to a ghost, but this is literally a fight we can't win. We must accept the lesson of the ghost here. We must open our eyes to the grave yawning before us. We must promise to change our wicked ways. Hey, 5 years that time. We're nearly out of health bar already. You'll notice we're standing in a graveyard now, which means next time it punches us, it's going to literally punch us into a coffin. But that's okay. We're ready. Okay, so unequip your weapon. Hold down B until you go down on your knees. And when it comes at you this final time, just press A as it rushes you. And there you go.
Spirits, hear me.
This is what giving up feels like.
I am not the man I was.
It's so easy, isn't it? You can see why everybody does it.
Why show me this if I am beyond hope? I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year.
It's pretty hard to watch this scene, I gotta say. After all that fighting, after all that resisting, we have to watch Scrooge getting railroaded like this. Anyway, the ghost accepts Scrooge's surrender. Scrooge has promised to let the values of Christmas into his heart. And here we go. The scene is slowly dissolving now. We're fading away from the grave on the hill, back to Scrooge's bedroom in 1843 once more. Once we get there, we'll get one final cutscene where Scrooge throws his money out the window, and that's the end of the game. One end of the game, at least. The bad ending, I like to call it. But guess what? While we're waiting for this long-ass dissolve to complete, you can actually still open your inventory screen. And if we equip the time sword now and just rewind the clock dial by 60 seconds.
Spirits, hear me.
We're back here again, and while the ghost is busy listening to the other Scrooge begging for his life, we can just creep up behind it and stab it in the back 50 times. Easy as that. same fucking trick on 2 different ghosts. Why do they never learn? Why do they never learn? Do you see what happens if you fuck with Ebenezer fucking Scrooge? We put you in the bin, mate. Feels good, doesn't it? We survived Christmas Eve, killed all the monsters, and we never had to make a single goddamn motherfucking compromise. Yeah, baby. Fuck the past, fuck the present, and fuck the future. And fuck my old work colleague as well for introducing me to those pricks. Fuck them all. We took them all out. We made it to morning, and we did it our way, by which I mean through mindless mechanical aggression. By only engaging with the material in the most superficial way possible, by treating it exclusively as a game that must be won. Now, you may have a problem with that, ethically, but trust me, if you want to get to the good ending, this is the only way to do it. You gotta be ruthless. You have to be. You have to take control. And that is what we did here tonight. And if you still feel bad about sending these pretentious Christmas ghosts back to hell, Christmas hell, think about it like this, okay? These ghosts were blessed with incredible gifts. Infinite memory, infinite foresight, the omnipotence of a god. And they decided to use them for what exactly? To try and convince a single old man of the ills of capitalism. Their only working night of the year spent talking with one elderly man. What exactly is the plan there? Hey? Every 365 days, they're gonna make one pensioner slightly less of a knobhead. The scale of their operation is a fucking joke. What a mealy-mouthed attempt to make a difference in the world. That's not Christmas spirit. That's throwing a single life preserver onto the deck of a Titanic. That's what that is. It's one more chair in a hospital waiting room. It's running a tombola where the only prize is more goes on the fucking tombola. I thought the mission was to push back on the evils of capitalism, and this is the best I could come up with? Apparently, yes. And it still failed. So don't feel too sorry for them. And anyway, we're in charge now. I told you I was going to beat the game. So let me show you how it's done. First, pick up the item dropped by the ghost. Okay, so now we have the scythe of Christmas yet to come. Open inventory, combine the scythe with the crown and the blade. So you now have the time orb, allowing free movement in all 4 dimensions. Great. Open map. I want you to select 17th of June, 1789. And we're going to the Royal Tennis Courts of Versailles, Paris, France. Approximately 1 hour before the signing of the Tennis Court Oath, the document that heralds the birth of the National Assembly and the first act in what will soon become the French Revolution. Now, before anyone puts pen to paper, we're going to need the ear of a couple of key radicals. So, we're going to talk with Robespierre, also a quick chat with Georges Danton, and yeah, let's grab Jean-Paul Marat while we're at it. Now, obviously, the goal here is to twin political freedom with economic freedom and to ensure economic democracy and worker empowerment remains a core component of the revolution. I really like Scrooge's expressive hand gestures here. He's really going for it. I think he's saying something right now about the perils of bourgeois republicanism and is instead championing the creation of a society based on socialist principles like collective ownership of land, worker control of production, and universal access to education and healthcare. it is a little hard to read the faces of the National Assembly here due to the small amount of pixels, but you can see some nodding, I think. But just to be sure, I might also... Yeah, okay, I'm going to take out Napoleon Bonaparte. Just get him out of the way now. Save problems later. We don't want him overthrowing the Republic just when we're working out the fine print. Now, don't worry. I'm not going to assassinate him. I don't want to advocate murder. Unless it's that caroller from the opening level. Fuck that guy. But here in revolutionary France, I've really got to push for non-violent methods best I can. So I'm just going to put laxative in his coffee there. Then teleport his toilet to Hawaii. Straight out of the LucasArts playbook, that one. Anyway, back to the Committee of Public Safety. We've got to hammer some big points here. Economic democracy, decentralised power, worker cooperatives, redistribution of wealth, abolishing feudal land ownership, universal healthcare. I'm also going to pull open this side menu and tick some boxes for non-violent forms of social change, participatory decision-making, and grassroots organisations that empower workers and peasants. With all that loaded up, I'm just going to keep hammering the A button, basically. And we can see in the corner there, Robespierre shrugging nonchalantly. Is he already rethinking the Reign of Terror? Hard to say, but it is a work in progress. Back to the Jacobin Club now. We've already got the sans-culottes and the working class Parisians as key allies, thanks to our emphasis on economic justice and land reform. But we also need to disrupt the capitalist alliances amongst the emerging bourgeois class. Can't make many compromises with the bourgeois, so no, don't talk to that guy. Instead, let's get back in the streets now. It's important to be frontline and support every moment of direct action whilst always advocating for peaceful, non-violent revolution. Okay, I need to go talk to the Girondins again. Jesus Christ. Never happy, the Girondins. So as you can see, there's a lot of plates to keep spinning here. A lot of sides to be appeased, and it does happen incredibly fast, but thankfully we do have the time warp to help with that. I'm also going to hop over to Prussia for a second and delay military escalation here, but basically just to buy France a little bit more time to become a fully operational socialist democracy. Just doing a little bit of non-violent sabotage here. Now, little by little, you can see we are starting to move the needle in this revolution towards France's adoption of democratic socialism, and, good for France. But at this point, we really need to start monitoring just how influential these ideas are within neighbouring European democracies. So I suggest, here we go, popping over to the southern provinces of Austrian Netherlands, i.e. modern Belgium, around 1791, to see if their revolution gathers some extra momentum in light of new French socialism. Italy is, as you can see, pretty fragmented right now, but check in with some of the urban centres like Milan, Florence. The Republic of Venice is also fertile ground for revolutionary ideas right now, so that looks promising. Let's also check in with Poland to see if the resistance networks here find some use in the ideological and organisational frameworks coming out of France. Then I'd like to check in with Haiti at this point. The Haiti Revolution was already influenced by French revolutionary ideas, but socialist France might well provide direct ideological material support for a stronger, earlier pan-Caribbean movement towards socialism. We can also check in with, here we go, independence movements in Latin America, Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, to see if they're embracing socialist frameworks rather than adopting liberal, democratic or oligarchic structures. If all of that's looking positive, then I think that's usually about enough global support for us to head back to Blighty. Okay, right now in England, yes, we're likely seeing some increased pressure for reforms. Yeah, here we go. Labour unions certainly adopting more radical positions. Sadly, we're not there quite just yet. Scrooge is looking a little bit narked at the lack of progress here. However, little hack I discovered, I find that if I jump back to the University of Glasgow in 1763 and smash up James Watt's workshop, there we go, fucking up the invention of the steam engine. That's actually pretty useful to our mission, believe it or not. The invention of the steam train being the gateway to the brutal, unregulated industrialization that impoverished and disenfranchised the working class. Of course, ultimately, you can't stop the train. It's coming whether we like it or not. But this delay here buys us some time to bring James Watt into the collaborative orbit of Robert Owen. And we're just going to make them friends here. Just like that. So now what we're going to see, if we jump forwards in time again, is, so the Industrial Revolution and mechanized manufacturing evolving much more in tandem with principles of collective ownership and environmentally conscious development, ergo less exploitation of labour, less worker alienation, and all of this is cooked into the core pattern of the machines themselves and how they can be used. Now let's just quickly add to that. Early introduction of universal suffrage to strengthen Labour and Socialist parties and give lower class citizens a voice in shaping economic policy. Done. Also, recognise and protect labour unions earlier and allow workers to organise freely and bargain collectively by the early 1800s. Done. Nationalise key industries with profits reinvested in society. Done. Comprehensive public education by 1820, mitigating class disparities and helping young people understand and advocate for workers' rights, democracy, and equitable economic policies. Done. Finally, land reform, had to get to it, break up the large estates held by aristocrats and redistribute lands to tenant farmers and cooperatives, empowering agricultural workers. And that is how you beat the game. As you can see on screen now in big flashing letters, capitalism has been slain. And now, we get this lovely sunrise over Tower Bridge. Scrooge watching from his open window. And now, here we go. Cute little birdies are picking him up by his nightshirt and flying him off into the golden dawn. I suppose this might be a kind of metaphorical way of showing Scrooge's end, because probably due to the extensive changes he's made to the timeline back in 1843, he probably no longer exists. At least this version of him no longer exists. And anyway, I think this is a nice romantic way to show Scrooge's sacrifice, I think. Carried off by birds. It's certainly how I want to go. And that is the end of A Christmas Carol on the SNES. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks so much for coming along for the ride. Most people haven't seen that. They haven't seen the good ending. Most people have only seen the cop-out ending. Now, of course, the end where we destroy capitalism and fly into the sun is not strictly canonical. I accept that. However, it is what Dickens would have wanted. You don't have to take my word for it. It's literally flashing up on screen right now. Look, this is what Dickens wanted. Fuck the capitalist pig dogs. A timely Christmas message, if ever I saw one. Listen, I know there are some video game critics who have slated this game for playing so fast and loose with political history, but you know what? It's a video game, isn't it? It's just a video game. What do you want? Do you want Mario to only be able to jump as high as the average Italian plumber? No. It's a game, mate. Chill out. Let Mario jump as high as he wants, okay? Anyway, once again, this has been Demonetized Leotard Bulge 79. I'll be back soon with another Let's Play. Next time, we'll be looking at Wuthering Heights on the Sega Genesis. And then, I think we'll be rounding off the year with Martin Amos's Money on the PlayStation Vita. Till then, have a Merry Christmas, eh? And if I don't see you, have a Happy New Year. Bye.